First gun up for review is a Spanish Arquebus of 1580. Now supposedly this reproduction, there's in St. Augustine, Florida, there is an archaeological site where they found a Spanish Arquebus just like this. And this gun is made using dimensions, stock dimensions, and features from an actual firearm recovered here in the United States from an archaeological site, historic site. So this is what I ordered off his, and this is on, he has an example of this on his website. It's got a lever trigger that operates a serpentine. It has a, it's a usual style stock. I guess that's a copy of what it was. So it's a uniquely different gun. I basically called him on his website. It says it's best to call him on the phone. Told him I was interested in a matchlock musket, just to have an example. And he basically recommended this one. I said I wanted to shoot it. He said this one here, shoulder's nice, and it's probably the best model that he has for actual shooting. So I placed an order with him and sent a deposit. He usually requests about 50%, maybe a little less than 50% of the agreed price. I'm not going to mention prices because you've got to call the people. They may have changed. It's been over a year since I got this, and I'm not going to speak for any one of these makers. You call them and talk to them. I'm not going to give you a price on what I paid for it. But so I ordered the gun. He said it would take about 3 months. There were some problems. It ended up being about 11 months, almost a year, 10 to 11 months before I got the gun. He did, being honest with you, not to really trash the guy, he did have some serious medical problems and was kind of delayed for some time there. It would have been nice if he put up something on his website or sent an email, but anyway, let's take a look at the gun. We'll zoom in here and take a little close look at it. Okay, like I said, this style of gun uses a lever, and this was reminiscent of the old crossbow trip levers, and that's how that operates this serpentine, which comes down, and you have a pan, square pan here. It comes up, your pan and your flash hole right into there. Okay. The barrel is an octagon, I guess, to round. There are wedding bands, and it comes up round, and then there is a front sight on there. And you can see the barrel's substantial. It's a lot better than the Indian muskets. It's just a simple barrel, but it's still, I wouldn't be afraid to shoot this. You have your lock plate. He makes all his own locks. And it's just this style of buttstock that comes down with no butt plate or anything nailed on it, which a lot of the originals I've seen, this is the way they work. Okay, and it has he just stained it. These guns didn't have any fancy finish or figure to them. They were just plain, basically a tool that you use like anything else. And then it has, I guess the feature is, there's a ramrod channel that's drilled out like the originals. There's not a metal strap or anything on this particular one. And then the ramrod. I guess that is the way they secured that on these models. And it's wood, and he's got the end, the metal tip on the end, drilled and tapped for any type of a jag or something. So that's a nice feature. And the workmanship, on this gun, the pan and the sight and probably the little pinions underneath here where it's pinned. This is pinned here. You have little tabs. They're probably all, it looks like they've all been soldered on, like the sight here. They've all been soldered on. The sight, the little retaining lugs underneath there, and the pan, you can see where it's been soldered on to the barrel. I don't really know much about guns this old and that. The workmanship on this gun is good. I can't complain about that. The time it took to get the gun, well, like I said, you know, there were some issues about in communication. There's some communication problems, some issues about, you know, there was a mix-up on which gun was being built. Mine, I guess he was building several of these at one time. So it wasn't an easy transaction. And basically, I was asking about shipping when we finally were done. I kind of got overcharged with the shipping, and it showed up in a pretty crappy box. So his communication skills, I know a lot of people like him. He's popular and builds a lot of guns, but his communication skills, at least with me, weren't the best. So I don't know about it. And the front sight looks and appears to be canted off to one side a little. I don't know yet. I'll take it out. But the workmanship is good, and basically with these things, you get what you pay for. I don't know if he makes better grades. You can get a higher quality graded gun. We didn't discuss it. I didn't get into depth with him about the different guns. He just basically built me a gun. It is 62 caliber or 20 gauge. So I think a 600 ball going here. I think it mics up to 615 or something, the bore. He did say that if I wanted a 12 gauge, which I think would mic up at a 680, it would cost more. It would be more expensive to make. But I do know people that have several guns built by John Buck. They all seem happy with them and that. So I kind of waited with this. I wanted to compare at least to someone else's work. That's why I got this in the beginning of the year. I haven't shot it yet, and I did have a video where I unboxed it. So a lot of this custom work too, like I said, you're going to get what you pay for. I believe this stock was probably, he has a set pattern and the blanks made. It's probably semi-inletted in that, and I think he knocks them out that way. That way it's faster, it makes the gun cheaper. You know, basically that's it. Pretty simple gun, pretty plain, and that's the one on the Arquebus, Spanish Arquebus of 1580.